Hi traders, Andy Demi here from the London Trading Institute. So in today's video, I'm going to be speaking about Bitcoin and in particular, whether it's time to buy the dip. So if you are new to us, please make sure you hit the subscribe button so that you don't miss out on future videos like this. And if you're watching us on Facebook, it's the FX and Crypto Traders Club. Make sure that you go to YouTube and subscribe so that, again, you don't miss out on any future videos that we may not post within our Facebook community. So with that being said, guys, let's get straight to it. So the first thing I want to say, guys, is before we speak about whether it's time to buy the dip or not, sometimes we have to look at the markets in perspective. And so when you're looking at these kind of falls in the market, it can seem really, really scary. And it can seem like something, major is going on. Now, the chart that I have right now is of the Bitcoin chart, but of the 5-minute time frame. And you can see it looks pretty bad. It looks pretty violent and scary. And, this is, and if you are looking at this kind of chart and you are long Bitcoin for the long term, as most people are, including myself, it can really seem very, very scary. And then you're thinking, what's going on? Why is this happening to me? Why is my portfolio going down? And, that fear can often make you make really bad decisions. Okay. Well, or kind of best case, it makes you feel really, really bad. And nobody really wants to feel really bad because at the end of the day, we are investing, we're making investments, and that should never feel bad. Okay. It should just be like, well, we have a long-term picture. So here's what I want to give you today. I want to share with you a tip. My tip is to not look at the smaller time frames, but to focus your attention on the bigger time frames so that you have perspective. Okay, so you have perspective of what's going on. So let's do that right now. And then let's figure out if it really is time to buy the dip or not. So what I've done here, guys, is I've taken a Bitcoin chart and I've drawn these diagonal lines, which basically form a channel. And you can see that this market, if you take this kind of parallel line here, so if you want to do this yourself, you draw it up here and then you clone the chart, the line, and then you move it down. And you can see I've moved that line down and look how well it's perfectly connecting to this, this area of support and support. So we have two perfect touches on this line. And you can also see, this is where the markets leave clues. You can see this little area here. Can you see how this area was very, very interesting during this time in June, where we had a lot of spikes? This is basically a clue that institutions or whales are playing a big part here, and they're interested in this zone. You can see that we have a lot of open and closing prices around this zone. And what's interesting about that is that this zone here is also exactly on this line. And that's coming in right now at the kind of bottom end around that 34,000. So if this market is going to continue its downtrend, then we could possibly, there's a very strong chance that we might find some support here. Now, the other thing that supports this argument is this. When the market moves, so let's say, for example, it's trending like this. What it likes to do is it often likes to find past levels of resistance that become support. So, if this market pulls back, it will generally like to find some support here and then, potentially continue higher. Okay. And then this here becomes your new level of support. That was the old resistance. And then on the flip side, when it's going down like this, again, these areas here become areas of entry for those that want to continue the trend down. Okay, so that support becomes resistance. Now, if you have a look at this chart here, what you can see is that if we just zoom out 1 second. You can see right here that we had some high points. Okay, so these are high points. I didn't mean to make it so thick. Let's remove that. And so this is a high point here. And then this is a high point here. Okay. And then this one is a mini high point right there. And then you have to go quite far back to find the next high point. So what's my point here? Well, when the market pulls back like it did here, you can see that as the market pushed higher, this old resistance became a support point. Then it went higher. And what should have happened if the trend was going to continue is that this high point here should have acted as support, but it didn't. And so what happens is that's called a break of structure. So what happens is that the market might then go and look for an old level of an old high point that hasn't been touched. Now, because this one here has been touched there, the next obvious point for me that's kind of within the area is here. So that kind of, again, justifies that this here looks like a really nice zone to look for Bitcoin to potentially find a bid, okay, to catch a bid, as we say in the markets. So in other words, there should be some demand coming in around there. Now, for me, that represents a really nice area to consider getting into Bitcoin. Now, I've done other videos before where I've spoken about the potential for March to April to be a key point in the markets. I'm not going to get into all of the details right here because I've covered a video on it, but I may come back to it at some point. But for different reasons, the end of March from a historical point of view has proven to be a turning point. And also it's the month where the tapering is likely to end for the US dollar. So that could have an impact on the market. And March, basically, if you kind of let's just pencil that in for a second. So if it does happen, we're looking at March really between there and there. So let's so towards there. That could be a really interesting point where maybe we just waste some time and then eventually we go into this block and then eventually the market goes higher. Of course, it can go higher earlier. It can start from at any point, but I've just noticed that historically March tends to be a month where the markets tend to change direction, not necessarily go up, but tend to change direction. So in this case, because the preceding months have been going down, this month, this block here could be the time where the markets may start to go up. So right now, what you should be doing is preparing, okay? And if you can prepare and you have the funds to buy some of the dip, I would be looking really anywhere from here is good value. But this area here for me represents a really nice point. So from anywhere from really 36 all the way down to here looks like a nice area to consider buying the dip. That's all for today, guys. Like I said, if you want to catch these kind of videos more often, please make sure you hit the subscribe button on YouTube and do join our Crypto and FX Traders Club to ask questions and to participate with the community on Facebook, Crypto and FX Traders Club. That's all from me this week. I wish you the greatest of days. Good trading, good investing to you all, and I'll see you soon next week. Take care.